Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the number one way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Hello, Spooklings.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Kathy.
And we're the hosts of the weekly podcast, All Hallows Eve Podcast.
We are a husband and wife duo with a passion for anything spooky, macabre, and true crime, sprinkled with our own twist of comedy.
We explore topics such as the history of Halloween, the Butcher of Plainfield, Hocus Pocus 2, urban legends, superstitions, and more.
So come join us as we go down the rabbit hole that is All Hallows Eve Podcast.
Listen and follow us at allhallowsevepodcast.com or your favorite podcast provider.
Stay spooky, my friends.
Lady, go! Hey, everybody. Welcome to Films and Fermentation. This is episode 126. That's right. We are Films and Fermentation, a movie and alcohol podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. In this episode, episode 126, we're celebrating spooky season and the first of two episodes that are Halloween themed. Tonight, we step into the realm of the paranormal as we look into our favorite ghost films. This is episode 126, Paranormal Pictures. Don't forget to drop us an email, filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. That was a little slurry. Don't forget to drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. Or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. We are on TikTok now at Films and Fermentation. So you can see, follow us there. I post little short clips from the upcoming episodes to give you a little taste of what we got going. You can also become part of the Films and Fermentation family by supporting us on Patreon or buying our shit at teespring.com.
Just like family, we ask for money.
Yeah. Tis the season to be giving. Thanksgiving. Mike, why don't you go first tonight on drinks?
Okay, so I was away this weekend and up in Massachusetts and only picked up one beer.
Okay.
I picked up a couple of ciders, but picked up one beer. It's from the Wandering Star Brewery. It's the sincerest pumpkin and butternut squash beer.
Hmm.
And it
that
says,
seems quite different for you.
Yes.
if you remember your peanuts, you'll know that the great
Your
pumpkin
what?
your peanuts.
Oh, peanuts.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. You know that the great pumpkin only visits the pumpkin patch that's the most sincere. That's why our fall special is brewed with the freshly picked sugar pumpkins from local Whitney's farm and roasted whole butternut squash with just a subtle hint of spice, sincerely. Pumpkin beer for beer lovers.
I should have worn my Peanuts T-shirt that has the kids dressed in their ghost costumes, and
I got a rock.
I got a rock.
You got a rock.
What's
That
the
sounds pretty
ABV? What's the ABV, Mike?
Does not say on here. I thought it was like 6% when I saw it on the board.
Okay.
And the guy, we go in the brewery, and we're in Western Massachusetts. So the last thing you expect is an Irish guy, full accent, in a brewery, and he only cans on demand. Nothing's canned until you order it.
Oh wow!
Is it only
Cans on
crowlers, or does he sell?
Buy 4-pack. Buy a 4-pack.
Wow, fresh canned 4-packs.
Nice.
Canned on demand. Kev, what you got going on tonight?
'Tis the season, as you said, and I went with an old classic, the Imperial Pumpkin Ale from Southern Tier. It's 8.6% alcohol by volume. I still have yet to try the Imperial Pumpkin with caramel that you guys were boasting about the other day. I have to go looking for it before the season turns, but that's exciting. This is more exciting, and Lee, I think you may want to try this down the road. This is the next one. This is Stony Brewing Company's Rubino's Italian Food Market Cannoli Cream Ale.
Nice.
All right. It's a good dessert beer. At least I'm hoping it's a good dessert beer. I haven't tried it yet. Stony Yard Brewery is out of Brocksport, New York. This looks to be a ABV of 7% alcohol by volume. And according to this, it is an ale brewed with real cannoli chips, milk sugar, and natural flavors. So I'm sure we're all going to be waiting for this. Even my wife is waiting for this. I have to send her a text when I crack it open.
Find out
she'll come running with a little taster cup.
If there's cannoli pulp at the bottom. So I've done beer the last few weeks, which is not normal for me. I usually mix it up. So this week I decided to mix it up. So I did a mixed drink tonight. It's called the Drunk. Yeah, it's called the Drunk Ghost. It is 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of Kahlua, and 1 ounce of Irish cream.
That sounds good.
You pour them in a shaker over ice, shake them up, pour them over ice. It's got like a white milky color to it, which is where the ghost comes in. And I'm drinking it out of this new coffee mug my wife bought that says Witch's Brew.
I like it. Looks like a cauldron.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be happy when she finds me drinking an alcoholic beverage out of her coffee mug. But
for our listeners out there who couldn't see what it looks like, it's a cauldron mug with a handle attached to it.
Mm-hmm. It says Witch's Brew.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Question
for me,
for you,
it's
Lee.
in reverse where I am. So right now it says Werberb. Yes, Mike.
So when I went up to Massachusetts, I did go to get some apple ciders. Are you good with apple ciders or not good with apple ciders?
I'm good with apple ciders.
Okay.
Is it pectin free or pectin full?
It's processed. As long as it's processed and the skin was taken off and all that stuff, I'm fine.
Is
the
it
skin
pasteurized?
Well,
Yes.
the winery that it was at they made apple wine. So
I've had apple wine before. It doesn't bother me.
Okay.
It's I'm allergic to this. Yes, for those out there who want a little taste of my personal life, I am allergic. I am allergic to pectin, which is found in most fruit skins. So as long as the apple is skinned, I'm usually pretty safe.
So if you're looking for a way to kill Lee,
You're looking for a way to put me into anaphylactic shock. Slip a couple apple skins in my drink.
it's not as much fun as it sounds.
It's really not. Anything special happened this week, Mike?
He went on vacation.
Yeah.
this week
Massachusetts.
in film history. In 1990, Dances with Wolves, directed by Kevin Costner and starring Kevin Costner and Mary McDonnell, premieres in Washington, D.C. Academy Award winner for Best Pictures in 1991.
Also won Best Director for Kevin Costner.
Wasn't that his first director win?
It was his first movie that he directed.
Mm.
And it is also the year that Scorsese was nominated for Goodfellas, which was also nominated for Best Picture.
Mm.
Now, I ask you this. Since 1991, have you watched either of those films? And which one did you watch more than once or more than the other?
I've watched them both. I'd say I watched Goodfellas far more than I watched Dances with Wolves. Dances with Wolves is an epic, though.
Yeah, it's this
You're
long
going
as
through
fuck.
3 years. It's not bad. It's actually very good. It's just long.
It's the same length as Goodfellas, believe it or not.
Is
But
it really?
Yeah, but Goodfellas moves faster, I think.
Oh.
I think Goodfellas is the better film, should have won the Oscar that year, and Scorsese definitely deserved the director Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
He has a tendency to lose Oscars to actors. He lost to Robert Redford in 1980. He directed Raging Bull, and Redford won for Ordinary People. So it's like he has like a history of losing to actors, and I think Goodfellas, I feel like, I'm not dissing Dances with Wolves. It's an excellent movie, but I feel like Goodfellas has aged better.
Yeah, he lost the Departed director to Ernest P. Worrell. Wasn't that, didn't he? No.
What's that?
Huh?
What did you say?
What?
Nothing. Okay.
I don't know what you were talking about.
Moving
I heard
on.
The Departed and Ernest P. Worrell.
In 2018, Halloween film reboot starring Jamie Curtis makes a record $77 million for a horror movie with a female lead, the biggest debut any film with a female lead over 55 in the U.S.
Is that that's not
the
the
reboot?
No, but it's not the what do you call one? Is it the one that Zombie directed?
No,
because Rob Zombie directed one of the Halloween reboots. So I gotta look it up on IMDb. It's gonna bother me. So Halloween 2018. Oh my god, there's so many fucking Halloweens.
The one that
it was Halloween 2007 was the one that he did. Yeah, 2018's was David Gordon Green. Don't know who that is. Based on characters created by John Carpenter. No shit.
All right, so this wasn't a reboot though. The 2018. This was a continuation, right?
I think it was
a reboot.
They called it a reboot. I remember them calling it a reboot when it came out too, but it's kind of like it's almost like a soft sequel because it's like
it talks about her having this guy who's haunted her for years since
because I feel like
ago. So
I think it's basically the same plot structure as the original, but she's 55 now instead of 16 like she was in the original film. I think that's just the only difference. I don't know. I haven't seen it. If John Carpenter didn't actually direct it, I'm not really interested in it. So I don't know. That leads us to our must-try beer or craft destination. You going to talk about your destination up in Western Massachusetts?
No.
They weren't open long enough, right?
They weren't open long enough. No. I'm going to talk about a craft destination from Mississippi called Southern Prohibition.
Yeah.
Brewing Company. SoPro's two goals are to make great beer, to make their home state a great place to live and visit. They offer dry hopped IPAs and barrel-aged beers, plus plenty of regulars. Their tap room has a great place to sample their latest specials and seasonals, and they have a rotating series of food trucks if you're hungry. They also have plenty of family-friendly outdoor space, though anyone under 18 must be supervised by an adult. On the plus side, the local laws allow adults to explore the nearby neighborhoods of Hattiesburg with a beer in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
You're allowed to walk around with open beverages.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, shit. The Phillies lost.
No.
2-1 in the bottom of the ninth. Oh, well.
No, well.
Can't win them all. They're pretty sure they're going to win the series anyway. So that brings us to synopsis according to Glip. Synopsis according to Glip, brought to you by Newsly.me. Newsly.me is an audio super app for iOS and Android that reads the news to you in a natural human voice. Stop scrolling. Start listening. Go to Newsly.me today and use the promo code ANFERMENT to get your first month premium subscription for free. I feel like I'm slurring tonight and I'm not even drunk.
Well, you're definitely echoing on my end.
Yeah, I echoed a little bit on my end too. Let me turn the sound down a little bit. All right. So last week was our 125th episode. Wow. It was what the fuck did we do last week? It was our birthday episode.
The birthdays? Yeah.
No, it was not our birthday episode.
No, it was not the birthday episode. That was one.
No, it was not the birthday episode.
It was Christ, what did we do last week? This does not look good for us, does it? Let's see here. Episode 125 was, if I could bring this up here. We did This Year in Film History for 2001.
2001.
I just listened to it this morning.
Wow, you couldn't even remember.
I couldn't remember, man. Kids, alcohol is not really good for you.
Not for the brain cells. No, it's not.
Although it is damn tasty. All right.
Yes, sir.
So last week we did. I don't even think I'm going to edit that out. I'm going to leave that in there. So last week we did 2001, This Year in Film History. But according to Glip, this is what the episode was really about. Leo introduces the 125th episode of Films in Fermentation and reminds everyone that it is not their birthday in that episode. I should have just read the Glip. Kevman talked about the trip to Total Wine and the Happy Coffee Pumpkin. Mike is drinking a Hager Weiss from the Antenna Brewing Company, and Leo is having a bad day. The participants discussed the successful first film and the literal bombs of Michael Bay. Kevman liked Peter O'Toole for the Harry Potter films, and Mike and Leo would rather see Patrick Stewart engaged.
Well, it's Hager Weiss, but it's WIES, and it's from Antietam Brewery.
I know it didn't understand your German.
Apparently.
So it was the 125th episode. I was making a joke that it wasn't the birthday episode because, of course, last week I couldn't remember the previous episode either.
Well, that's because you changed the intro.
I don't know. I think it's. I'm getting older. I can't remember anything anymore. Kevman talked about you went to Total Wine and War last week, and the Happy Coffee Pumpkin was one of the drinks you got.
When it was happy going in, it was not happy coming out.
Ooh.
Mike had the Hager Weiss from Antietam Brewing Company. I did have a bad day because that was the day I got stuck in traffic for 3 hours. We were talking about films from the year 2001. I don't know what successful first film we were talking about. We did make a joke about the literal bombs of Michael Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And we did talk about a replacement for Dumbledore if they hadn't gone with Michael Gambon. And Kev had said Peter O'Toole. And I had made a joke about how I would like to have seen Patrick Stewart as Dumbledore. We went through a whole. That would have been cool too. The boy who lived. So it was.
Shut up, Weasley.
Shut up, Weasley. That is the clip I used on TikTok that week. That was the Shut Up Weasley clip. So that was our synopsis according to Glit. We'll be right back after this short break from some of our podcast friends, and then we will come back with our main segment tonight. It's Paranormal Pictures. We're going to be talking about our favorite ghost films.
Hey movie lovers, it's Jackson here from the Back to the Blockbuster podcast. If you've ever wanted to hear an amateur cinephile and an industry professional chat about film and television, then look no further, because every week my co-host Gaius and I, we bring you the latest industry news, break down the most recent trailers, try to beat the box office with our weekly predictions, and dive into our favorite movies on their anniversaries. And every second Friday, you can look forward to the Back to the Blockbuster spin-off, Deep Dives with Owen and Gaius, where the duo dissects a movie of their own choice. All this and more wherever you get your podcasts.
Bless you, sir.
Thank you.
We are back from our short break, and tonight we were talking about some ghost films. So what we did was each of us came up with a list of 5 movies that involve ghosts that we quite enjoy. None of us use these, right? Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice.
No.
So we did not include on our lists these 3 films because we feel like they are obvious choices and movies that would probably be on most people's list of great ghost films. So those films were Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice, and The Sixth Sense. All 3 are films that we have talked about extensively in the past. In fact, we recasted Ghostbusters on an earlier episode from season 4, so you should go check that out. I can remember that was from season 4, but I couldn't remember what the fucking episode was last week that we did.
Let me ask you guys, because I have my list, but I had a couple, waiting in the wings.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody use a series, like a streaming service series, or did we just go
I just
one
did
and done
movies.
cinema?
I just did movies.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you
I'll
want to
stick
talk
with
about,
that.
I know what series you're talking about, so go ahead and put it on there if you want.
No, I'll stick with the movies. I had a nice selection.
You're talking about the House on Haunted Hill series?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I still haven't finished it because it scared the shit out of me, man. Like, that is such a scary fucking series. I don't get bothered usually by the horror films or by anything like that, but it's so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so, it's just that just from the first goddamn episode, I was like, holy shit, this is going to be rough. Like,
Yeah.
We all know Kevin's first one's going to be Ghost Rider, so.
Ghost Rider.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I totally forgot.
Johnny
about Ghost
Blaze.
Rider. I totally forgot about Ghost Rider. Best part of Ghost Rider was watching Sam Elliott's mustache turn into flames. So I thought we can do like a back and forth and maybe try to guess each other's movies or something.
Sure.
If we want to.
Let's go for it.
So who wants to
You
go
guys
first?
are going to have a couple of doozies on your hand.
Oh, okay, good.
Just saying.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Michael, for breaking
I'll
the
go
silence.
first. So my first movie. I have to look it up. I have no background on it. I just picked 5 movies.
That's almost as bad as me forgetting my last episode was.
Well, we didn't discuss that we were going to try to guess them before this.
I thought I was trying to do something fun because I didn't want to just like describe
What
the
the
film
hell,
like we usually do, you know?
Something fun. What the fuck?
Okay, this movie came out in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Takes place up in the New England country of the United States.
Not of New England, because that's
No.
old England.
Directed by Tim Burton.
Not New England, New Zealand.
Oh, I already got you.
You got it?
I
It was
got
written by Washington Irving.
it. Yeah.
Oh, Sleepy
Sleepy
Hollow.
Hollow.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. I like that movie.
The Headless Horseman.
Hessian.
The Hessian, yes.
I
Of course, America's, I guess, horror sweetheart, Christina Ricci. 'Cause that's all she does is like horror movies or spooky movies.
I thought she looked really good in that movie with the blonde hair.
Yeah, I thought she was really good in that movie. I actually liked a majority of the actors and actresses in that movie. Miranda Richardson.
Richardson.
You know, it had Palpatine. It had Alfred.
It had
Michael Gambon.
Yeah, so it had
Gambon.
Ian McDiarmid. It
It
had
had that pedophile.
oh yes, it had Jeffrey Jones.
Jeffrey Jones.
It had
And of
who was
course-
the only kid? Alfred. That was
It had Richard Griffiths, which is, from
oh
Harry
yeah,
Potter.
yeah. It was Uncle Vernon. Yeah.
Christopher Walken.
That was an awesome cameo. Christopher
Yes.
Walken's cameo at the end was fucking amazing.
And it was a nice. I like the way he took a short story with no real substantial plot to it and turned it into like a mystery, haunting mystery story. I like that rework of it,
Yes.
He's not always great at doing that. Tim Burton. So
No,
it did.
but this time
it's a
worked.
quirky film. I didn't like it the first time I saw it. I thought it was like just too much. Like you said, because he was stretching out a short story. But like after I watched it again, I was like, it's not so bad. Johnny Depp is pretty good in it. Like you said, Christina Ricci's great in it. All the actors, including the pedophile, are pretty good. But it's for me, it's the Christopher Walken cameo at the end, like seals it for me.
I like how his teeth were all filed into into
the
points.
Like points. All right, that's a good one. So Sleepy Hollow from Mike. Kev, did you have
good trivia? Anybody know who played the Headless Hessian? Not Christopher Walken. Who was the guy who did?
That was
is it Doug Jones?
No, wasn't it the same guy that did Maul?
Yeah, Ray Park.
Oh, Ray Park. It was Ray Park.
Yeah.
He's the weapons master, so he can do all that shit without looking.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. So I'll go next. My first one here. Do I want to do my first one? I think I'm going to do one of my other ones first. I'm not going to go in order. So my first one, out of order, is directed. I'm going to start with the director. It is directed by Peter Jackson, best known as the Oscar-winning director. Oh, I took one of Kevin's, didn't I?
You bugger, you took mine.
Starring Michael J. Fox, that one?
Yeah, that one. That's all right. I got backups.
That movie is called, what is that movie there, Kev?
Oh, Frighteners.
The Frighteners.
Frighteners. I love that movie.
Starring
it's also, for being a comedy,
it's fucking dark.
Very dark.
Well, you know what it is Peter Jackson. This is well before Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yes. This came out in 96. He had started his career as a horror movie director. Some of his first films were like gory, like slasher fest films. So this is like in his wheelhouse, kind of. So yeah, I love the Frighteners, man.
Yeah. No, it's a good one.
It's quirky. It's like kind of like it's probably a film that time forgot.
Yeah, I would say that.
Whenever I talk to somebody who's seen it, they all say that they like it. You know, it's not like a movie that's hated, but yeah, it's one that's kind of like out there. Like
it bothers me that's what happened to E.T.'s mom, though, man. It really bothers me.
Yeah.
She turned that way.
Wallace. And then there's so you got Michael J. Fox, Trini Alvarado, Jake Busey, Gary Busey's son, plays the ghost the killer ghost. Jeffrey Combs is in it, being his usual quirky self as the FBI agent. Arlie Ermey, the sergeant from Full Metal Jacket, is a ghost sergeant. Yeah, it's a fun movie. But it is like when they get to like the serial killer part, man, like it's pretty fucking dark.
Yeah.
But it's a good one. I'm sorry I stole it from you.
No, it's okay. I had backups.
Good. I have some backups too, just in case.
Yes, I think we all should have backups.
So, Kev, why don't you go with one of yours?
Well, I'm going to give you guys an easy one from the beginning. And oh, my love.
Ghost.
My darling. Yes.
That was one of my backups.
It was one of my backups. Yeah, I had Ghost
one of my backups.
Okay.
Or my honorable mentions, because if nobody mentioned it, we had to say it.
It was a good movie. It was a good movie. It wasn't an incredibly scary movie. It was just a unique.
We're talking about ghost movies. We didn't say they had to be horror films.
No.
So I'm thinking like, you know, like how can you not have a list of ghost films without a movie called Ghost?
So funny story with this one.
When did this come out?
I want to say 1990. No, but it was something. Okay,
I'm
this is
going
to sound horrible. It came out in 1990.
Yes.
At this time, one of my mother's best friend growing up had passed away suddenly, and she was really down in the dumps. My father, trying to be the comforting, sensitive husband that he is, thought it would be best to get her out.
They keep going.
He took her to see the movie Ghost. I mean, it was all the good intentions. He had really good intentions, but it was probably the worst possible movie he could have taken her to at that time. She recognized she recognized what he was trying to do, and it was just, not thinking that far ahead. But yeah.
I remember when my dog died, and my dad was so upset. We took him to see Old Yeller. As soon as you said trying to be a good husband, I was like, oh no.
One thing I will say about the movie, the shadow creatures, the one that came out after like a soul, after a evil soul had been, those were terrifying.
Yeah, that creeped me out when I was because I was 12 when that movie came out. I think 13, something like that. So I remember a little freaked out by it. Yeah, it's a good movie. So, Mike, why don't you go back to your list?
Okay, my next one is from 1982. Directed by Tobe Hooper. Written by Steven Spielberg.
Poltergeist.
That's it.
Damn it, man!
That was on my backup list.
That was on my regular list.
We're just taking movies right off Kevin's list.
We really are.
Oh God, I remember when I first watched this movie. It scared the bejesus out of me.
I always thought the scariest thing was the little girl going there, here, and that's not even like the ghosts. It's just a little girl. And that movie was like,
the little woman who had the high pitched voice.
She was freaky too. Yes.
And that movie was cursed, because the little girl that in the film passed away after the movie was made. And,
and the one that played the older daughter, she died. Yeah.
So it's like a cursed production or something they always refer to it.
Yep.
If I didn't get it after Tobe Hooper and Steven Spielberg, I would have got it after Craig T. Nelson. Poltergeist. I haven't watched Poltergeist since I was in high school.
Oh, it's been a while since I watched it too.
Yeah, I always talk about I got to go back and watch these films again, and it's just not enough time in the day.
No,
to go back and watch all these movies sometimes.
You just put them on during film appreciation class, and you get to watch whatever.
or every now and then I just not watch Shawshank Redemption and watch a different movie.
That might help.
So that's me then, right?
Yep.
Oh man. I have two on here that are going to be really hard to guess, I think. So I'm going to go with one of the easier ones.
Okay.
So this one came out in 19. Was it 19? I think it was. Hold on. There's two films that have this name. I have to find the right one.
This is delightful, by the way.
2001, this film came out. Oh, is that the cannoli one?
Mm-hmm. This is a nice dessert beer.
You had me at cannoli.
Mm-hmm.
So this film came out in 2001. It is actually a remake of a ghost film that came out in 1960.
House on Haunted Hill.
Nope. It stars Shannon Elizabeth, Tony Shalhoub, Matthew Lillard.
13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was talking to Katie about this the other day, and I said, "Oh yeah, we're doing ghost films on Thursday night. We're picking out our 5 favorite ghost films." She went, 13 Ghosts is on your list, isn't it? And I went, "Yeah, 13 Ghosts is on my list." This is a dumb fucking movie. I love it.
I mean, you're not getting quality actors and actresses in it, but the ghosts are really kind of gnarly.
this is probably the worst acting job of Tony Shalhoub's career.
Mhm.
This is F. Murray Abraham going from Oscar winner to over the top villain in a basically B movie horror film.
This also had Corky Romano in it too, didn't it? Am I thinking of the one from SNL?
He wasn't in this one. He was
wasn't
in
in this
the
one?
he was in The Haunting.
Oh, okay.
So there were 3 like remake films that came out right around the same time, and it was House on Haunted Hill, The Haunting, and 13 Ghosts, and they were all based on movies from the 50s and 60s.
Right.
Yeah, this is the one I found the most entertaining because I thought the 13 Ghosts themselves were really freaky. I thought it was like interesting how they had to put the glasses on to see them, which is actually a concept from the first film, the original film. The original film was filmed in a way that when you went to the theater to see it, they gave you like almost like 3D glasses. And when you wore them during the production, you can see the ghosts floating around in the house.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you took them off, you couldn't see the ghosts.
I thought you were going to say it was taken straight from They Live.
Yeah. Consume. I would have put They Live on there if it was a ghost film. But I like this movie. I mean, it's pretty dumb. Like you said, it's not the best acting. It's not like the plot has a lot of holes in it too. But I don't know. It's something entertaining about it, and I think mostly it's the ghosts themselves because they're pretty friggin' cool designs.
I have a side note because I was thinking of this earlier when I was teaching film appreciation. Would you consider They Live to be a very, very loose adaptation of Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
It's in that realm. It's very similar to it.
Okay.
They Live is based on a short story called 8 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit. The film takes some liberties with that story, but yeah, it's similar in the sense that it's aliens coming down,
Looking like regular
disguising
people.
themselves as humans.
Wait a minute. A movie took liberties with a book?
Yeah.
Really?
It was a short story, so it took a lot of liberties with it. But yeah, but it's more of like an anti-consumerism, thesis than like Invasion of Body Snatchers, which is kind of just like a straight sci-fi thriller.
Mm-hmm.
But back to ghosts.
Yeah, we did all on Kevin's list.
This is now Kevin's turn. So
Well, I'm going to have to like reshuffle that. I'm going to go with one that you guys probably don't know. And let me just make sure I have my I's dotted and my T's crossed. Okay. Movie came out in 1998. And like any movie done in the 80s, it had to sign Steve Guttenberg to it.
Yeah.
It was directed by Neil Jordan. I would say it was probably more comedy than anything horrific or terrifying. It also starred Daryl Hannah, as most 80s movies were prone to do. And the synopsis or the little summary of it is when a
Hour of Terror?
when a hotelier attempts to fill the chronic vacancies at his castle by launching an advertising campaign that falsely portrays the property as haunted, two actual ghosts show up and end up falling for 2 guests.
Oh, fuck. I know this movie. I remember. I can see the trailer in my head, and I can't think of the name of it because it's
also starred Peter O'Toole.
I know, and I can see the trailer in my head, and I'm getting it confused because it came out around the same time as Haunted Honeymoon, which is like a very similar kind of idea. And so, like, Haunted Honeymoon keeps popping in my head, but I know that's not Haunted Honeymoon because Mike covered that on Films of Time Forgot a while back.
Yes, I did.
And I did. Oh, God, this is going to fucking bother me. I know this movie. God damn it.
You stumped Leo.
I know.
It's only a stump in the
very
fact that
young Jennifer Tilly.
It's only a stump that I can't remember the title. Like, I know. Hi, Megan!
Everyone's saying, hi, Megan. Megan's here to try the cannoli.
She's leaving the gun. She's taking the cannoli.
What do you think?
Very sweet.
Very sweet. Good
It's
dessert beer.
It's a dessert beer.
I stumped them, honey.
it's only a stump, and then I can't remember the title. Like I know
Then
this
it's
movie.
a stump. It's a stump.
God damn it! Steve Guttenberg,
Mm-hmm.
Peter O'Toole, Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
Castle.
Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly.
Mhm.
That doesn't Tilly.
I have no clue. So
This is called.
I don't want to give up yet. I don't want to give up yet.
he already did. He already gave it up.
What? I didn't hear it because I got like a reverb on that.
High Spirits.
High Spirits. All right. Yeah. I remember the trailer. Like I really like. I can remember seeing the trailer. And yeah, it definitely came out like not like the same year, but like within a couple of years of Haunted Honeymoon, and that was like kind of in my head. Shit. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
And they're two spirits. So I mean, they're in this castle. They're staying in the castle. They're trying. Peter O'Toole's trying to drum up money. Falsely claiming that it's haunted, but it's not falsely haunted. There's a whole scene that reenacts that goes out between Daryl Hannah. Liam Neeson was actually in this too. Very young Liam Neeson. And it's like what happened, how did their love and them die or perish at this castle? But Daryl Hannah's ghost ends up noticing and falling for Steve Guttenberg because who wouldn't? I think I'm trying to remember who falls for Liam Neeson because he also ends up, getting his groove on. He ends up getting it on with Mary Coughlin. I want to say Mary Coughlin, who I don't know if she was in much that we'd remember. She was in Breakfast on Pluto, The Miracle. She was an Irish actress. Yeah, there's not much on her line, but anyway, that was the basis of it. A lighthearted, haunted movie.
I feel like that movie was spoofed by an animated show, like either The Simpsons or Family Guy or something.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing like an episode of one of those shows that was like a similar plot. I think they were like spoofing it a little bit. Yeah, it's fucking bothering me that I couldn't remember the title of it.
Is it Beverly D'Angelo? Was she the other one?
And she's the more famous
it is
one there.
Beverly D'Angelo. Why wasn't she in the main cast? Yeah, it was her and Liam Neeson. That's what I thought.
Anyway. So that is back to Mike then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my next pick for a film has been remade a dozen times easily. It wouldn't be considered your typical ghost movie. It comes from a book originally. I don't know which version of the movie I want to talk about. That's not being so vague with everything else.
Trying to guess a little bit of it first.
It's not a Halloween movie.
Okay.
Okay.
But it is a holiday movie.
Oh, you're talking about the Christmas Carol.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually have Christmas Carol any version on my my backup list. But yeah, so we've talked about Christmas Carol before because we did our favorite Christmas Carol movies on our Christmas special last year.
Yes, but it is a ghost movie.
It's a ghost movie.
It is a ghost movie, yeah.
And there's so many versions of it, like you said. Even like stage versions and TV movie versions, and, whatever. Yours is the Patrick Stewart one's your favorite,
right? Yeah, it's a TV version. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
I'm a big fan of the George C. Scott one. Was Kevin and the Muppets one? Yeah.
Did you see the thing I sent the Films and Fermentation page? Simon Pegg talking about Michael Caine's retirement?
No.
No.
When'd you send that out?
Oh, this afternoon.
Okay, I haven't
That's
gone over yet, so I have to check it out.
over. Yeah, you'll appreciate it.
Yeah. So
didn't Dickens use spirits an awful lot, though? I mean, when I took the tour when I was in England, I went to Dickens' house, and he used spirits and supernatural things in quite a few of his stories.
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of like it was common in some of those Victorian novels. The Bronte sisters used that a lot in some of their stories, like Wuthering Heights. So yeah, supernatural was kind of like something that was on Victorian England's mind at the time. But yeah, Christmas Carol's a good one, no matter what version you're talking about.
Nope.
All right, I'm gonna have to go with. I have 3 left here, and at least 2 of them are probably gonna be pretty difficult. So let me go with this one here. This is the most recent one on my list. Based on a true story, quote unquote.
Quote unquote.
Stars Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga.
Conjuring.
Yes, The Conjuring is the next one on my list. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were real people, worked to help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse. This is the beginning of what would become like the Conjuring universe, because you had The Conjuring 2, you had Annabelle 2, The Nun 2.
There's a new one for The Nun just now.
Yeah, so these are all films that are kind of connected by the fact that the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren,
supernatural investigators,
are the investigators kind of involved in all of these films. But The Conjuring, the first one, was really good. It had some excellent jump scares in it. Did a good job with like telling the story, good pacing, wasn't overly long, and is directed by James Wan, who is like an up and coming like superstar in horror. He directed The Conjuring. He directed the film Megan about the killer robot that came out last year. He directed the Insidious films. He directed Saw X, the most recent Saw film. Another really good horror film that he directed is called Malignant. It's about a woman who's got a twin that's living inside her brain. It's very weird, but it's a really good movie. So like he's and he was a producer on the reboot of Mortal Kombat. So he's a big name in horror right now, and so The Conjuring is my film. Yep. One of the best fucking jump scares I've seen in a long time.
The clapping?
In that movie, the clap. Yeah. Which we talked about in our jump scare episode that you can see from our previous season 6. Again, I can't remember last week's episode, but I can tell you that season 6 was when we did our jump scare episode.
Lord Almighty.
So, Kev, it's back to you.
Back to me already, huh? Okay. Mine is also from 2001. Directed by Alejandro Amenabar, or Amenabar. I don't know. There's a thing above the A. It stars Christopher Eccleston.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Fanula Flanagan.
You can't even say the names of the people.
Thor: The Dark World.
Thor: The Dark World. And this will be the giveaway, so I'll just say it anyway. Nicole Kidman.
The Others.
The Others, yes.
I look at The Others as like the lesser known cousin of The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah. I get that. But it was really good. It was very.
It is a good movie. Yeah. It does have that sort of twist at the end that you don't see coming. But when it does happen, you're like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense now.
I love that all the kids they have this allergy to the light that comes in, so it forces the entire movie to be done in a dark, and
I like that
haunted house.
The whole time you think they're being haunted by this old woman,
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out that the old woman was the psychic who was trying to bring their spirits out at the end. Like it's really cool twist. Christopher Eccleston went through me because I'm like, wow, man, I totally forgot that he was in that film.
Yeah.
He's the husband whose ghost they see at the end, isn't he?
He's the husband who comes back to them and then
But
leaves them.
doesn't like recognize them because he's a ghost too.
Right. Why I never got whether or not he was like in the house and he was missing them because, she killed the kids and then she killed herself.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, spoiler alert. It's only 22 years old. But like, I didn't know whether or not like he was still alive, coming back and finding them dead, and that was the interaction between the spirit and the living, or he was dead himself from war, and that was the two ghosts, and they could not really connect because they died in different places.
It's the sense that I got. It was the second thing you said. Like I got a sense that he died in the war, and it's like they always find him like he's always walking in the woods, like he's stuck on a loop. And then they get him to come in the house, but he's not able to interact with them because he's, his spirit is stuck somewhere else. So it's like, yeah, I kind of got the sense that he was like a wandering spirit that just couldn't interact with them anymore.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, the first theory could be right too. I have to rewatch it. I haven't seen this one in a while. I definitely have seen The Sixth Sense more recently than I've seen the others. So, back to Mike.
Okay, so my next one was made in 1979, roughly based on a true story, or very loosely based, you could say. Stars James Brolin and Margot Kidder.
Amityville Horror. No,
Okay,
Amityville Horror.
Amityville Horror.
Yep.
See, you actually might have stumped me if Kevin didn't guess that right away. Because
I'm sorry, man. I should have let it go for a bit.
I know Amityville. It's been a while since I've seen it. I forgot that Brolin and Kidder were with it because the most recent one I saw was the one with Ryan Reynolds.
I went back to the original.
Not as good.
Yeah,
isn't this house in Jersey?
No, it's in it's in New York. It's New York.
Yeah, it's in like upstate New York somewhere. Yeah. Yep. I think I might be near it when I go up to the Finger Lakes.
You should stop by. Ask for
because we're going to Halloween weekend. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to see a bunch of people hanging around the house.
Yeah, I think the house is like off limits because they don't sell it anymore. But I think it's like still there.
Yeah.
But like it's not up for sale anymore. Amityville. Or 2005. Nope, 79. There we go.
79.
Newlyweds and their 3 children moved to a large house where speaking of the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren were the investigators at the actual Amityville house.
Okay. The
Conjuring itself is kind of loosely based on their experiences with Amityville.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a little connection there. Rod Steiger was in this film.
Yep.
Father Delaney. Let's see. Yeah, again, it's been a while since I've seen this, so I don't remember too much about it. I most recently saw the one from 2005, which starred Ryan Reynolds and Melissa George, which is not nearly as good. It's so weird. Like I don't know what it is with like reboots, man. That like it's so easy to get to miss it when it's like you have the story right there. Like, how do you screw it up?
Well, wait a second, because when you do it exactly the same way it was done the first time, you're knocked for that too. Because Psycho was redone, frame by frame, inch by inch, and it sucked just as bad.
It was only because they had Vince Vaughn playing Norman Bates instead of somebody who was actually like a horror actor at the time.
And Anne Heche.
Anne Heche wasn't bad. She gets killed in the opening scene, so it's like. I was like,
too long. It took too long.
It took too long. You also had Julianne Moore in the film. They had some decent actors in the film. It's just Vince Vaughn. I couldn't watch Psycho with Vince Vaughn without thinking about Dodgeball. So I mean, it's just yeah.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a
ball.
And that little addition that they included when he was peeping on her.
That was like the one thing that was different from the original film and added nothing to it except creepy sound effects.
Right, Lee. What's your next movie?
My next one, I have to include one of these on my list of creepy ghost films. A film that was directed by John Carpenter in 1980. I just got sent to Amazon instead. No, I just got sent to Amazon instead of IMDb for some reason. Came out in 1980, directed by John Carpenter, starring Adrian Barbeau, Jamie Lee Curtis, Janet Leigh, Tom Atkins, and Hal Holbrook. And it is not Halloween. This is another horror film that he directed a couple years later.
It's Jamie Lee again?
Yes, with Jamie Lee Curtis in it again. An unearthly fog rolls into a small coastal town exactly 100 years after a ship mysteriously sank in its waters.
The Fog?
Yes, the answer was in the description. The movie is called The Fog. It's a really cool film. It's very atmospheric. It's this fog rolls into town every 100 years and brings with it the ghosts of these sailors who mysteriously died in a shipwreck. And you find out that they were actually like murdered on the ship, and so their ghosts haunt this little island and murder people and stuff, and they have to figure out a way to get the ghosts to like go away.
My mind went to Ghostbusters 2 when the Titanic finally arrived.
The Titanic just arrived. And for some reason, Cheech Marin is one of the dock workers, like in this weird cameo. This film was also remade. It was remade in 2005. And it, again, not as good as the original. Nowhere near as good as the original.
When was the original again? 1980?
Original came out in 1980. This one came out in 2005, and it starred
25 years later.
Starred Tom Welling, best known as the Superman guy from Smallville. And Maggie Grace, best known as Liam Neeson's daughter in Taken. And that's about it. Not a good film. This one got... All right, here's your comparison. The John Carpenter original 1980 has a 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb, which is, pretty good for a horror film. The Fog remake in 2005 has a 3.7 out of 10 on IMDb. So,
oh wow,
that should tell you something right there. This is a good film, and as usual with John Carpenter films, low budget, but they make it work. So, Mike, back to you. This your last one?
I thought it was Kevin's go after.
Or is it Kevin's turn now? Kevin's turn, I'm sorry. So your next one.
Have we all done 3 already?
I have done 4.
Yeah, I've done 4.
You've done 4? Okay. I've done 3. Okay.
This is your 4th. Yep.
This is my 4th. All right. The year was 1988.
Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
I have it on my list too. That was my last one.
That was my 5th one.
Yes. So we all had Field of Dreams as our 5th.
Oh no! Mine wasn't Field of Dreams. You guys just guessed at it. No, I just told you the year, and you were, incredibly wrong.
Because Field of Dreams came out that year too.
No, because Field of Dreams came out in '89.
Oh, okay. So go ahead. 1988.
Written and directed by Frank LaLaglia. And I don't think you're going to recognize many of these actors or actresses. I'll start with Alex Rocco. Okay. This one you may remember from Who's the Boss? Katherine Hellman. She played Nana or the grandmother.
She was Mona?
She was Mona.
That's Mona on Who's the Boss?
She was Mona on Who's the Boss. And I guess the main actor of this was Lucas Haas, who was kind of riding high a little bit in the 80s as a child star. Any guesses? Or do I need to go into the movie description?
I think I need a description.
Yeah.
An author tells the story of how, as a young boy growing up in a 1960 small town, he was haunted after witnessing the murder of a little girl. Still racking our brains, are we, gentlemen? All right.
Yeah. Sounds
This is definitely a film that time forgot. I'd be very shocked if either one of you knew it. This was called The Lady in White. Mm-hmm.
All right. Alex Rocco played Mo Green in The Godfather. That was like my connection. I was like, what other movies have I seen his face in?
I think when I first watched this, I thought that Lucas Haas was the kid who played Elliot in E.T.
Okay, so
initially, so I thought it was Henry Thomas.
Henry Thomas, yeah.
Right. For 1988, I guess the special effects are pretty decent, but it's definitely a creepy movie,
Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures now. Like Lucas Haas was really young.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like easy.
He must have been writing right after Witness. What was it?
Probably, yeah. Witness was a couple years before that, I think. Because you look at him now, he looks nothing like he did when he was a kid.
No.
But yeah, like I may have seen this when it came out, and it's probably the last time I saw this.
I think I saw this on HBO growing up.
Yeah, this looks like one of those like films that you would find on like HBO or Cinemax or something, like just kind of playing regularly to fill up time.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell us any more about this film? Because it's been a long time since I've seen it.
It's just that Lucas Haas is the character Frankie.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is in a small town, right? And he sees a girl get murdered.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he quite knows who it was that murdered her. And then there's the mystery behind this woman who keeps appearing, looking for her at various points throughout the night, wandering around the village or wandering around his house. And it leads to him discovering more and more about who actually killed the girl. And as he learns more about it and people know that he's learning more about it, the true killer kind of makes himself known to kind of like keep him quiet. And I'll just ruin the ending for you. And I believe the killer ends up dying himself through an accident, which releases the spirit so that the young girl and the lady in white, who I believe is her mother, can join together again.
I looked up the director, Frank LaLoggia. I wanted to see what else this guy did. He wrote 2 films, Fear No Evil and Lady in White. Directed 3 things, Fear No Evil, Lady in White, and a direct-to-video film called Mother. And then appeared in 7 movies or TV shows from 1975 to 2020. 7, so he's really got like a very, very sparse.
He's got a very limited
IMDb, but like over a span of 30 to 40 years, limited.
Mother, that wasn't the one with Jennifer Lawrence, was it?
No, that was shit. I can't think of the name of the director of that film. That's like some pretty big name director who did that one. That was Darren Aronofsky did that one.
Oh, okay.
No, the Mother that he did came out in like 1980 and was like a straight to video thing or something. I don't know. It's weird. So that takes us to Mike's last one.
Yep. So,
which we both said was Field of Dreams for us.
But I have another one.
I do too.
Have another one. So this one was in 1984.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to get it right away if I give you the director, the writer. So I'm going to give you a couple of the actors before, like John Saxon, Johnny Depp.
1984?
Mm-hmm.
Just Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yep.
Is that a
my
ghost movie?
favorite horror movie.
That's a horror movie. Yeah.
Is it a ghost movie? I don't know if it's a ghost movie.
Yeah, Freddy
I mean,
Krueger's
he
dead.
is a dead. He is a dead spirit.
He's a dead spirit.
People. Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
He's a dead spirit killing kids in their dreams.
Well, yeah, but their parents really, screwed him over.
Yeah.
Wasn't
God,
the
this
parents like murdered him or like they lynched him or some shit?
Well, he
burned
was
him alive?
like
They burned him alive.
They burned him alive in the boiler because he was a serial killer of kids before. He was a janitor.
Oh, was he?
school. Yeah.
I thought he was
went
just
after
a
him.
creeper and they didn't like him.
Or that he was falsely accused and they murdered him anyway or something.
Mm.
Well, he had the glove all before that, so he didn't make it as a ghost.
I'm going to talk about Field of Dreams a little bit just because I did have it on my list. Mike had it on his list.
Yeah.
I was proud of myself. I was like, ooh, here's a ghost movie that is kind of out of the box as a ghost movie and about baseball and not Halloween, but it's cool. And I'm like, Field of Dreams. So I already talked about Christmas Carol, Ghost, and Poltergeist, which were my backups. We mentioned House on Haunted Hill. There's both the series on Netflix that Kev and I were talking about earlier and the remake that came out. I only have one other movie on my backup list, so I might as well go with that one other movie on my backup list. So how should I introduce this one? This is probably going to be an easy one to figure out because it is a fairly popular film. So let me look it up on IMDb and see if there's some way I could try to make it tricky. It came out in 1980. It was directed by...
Casper.
No, it's not Casper. It was directed by Stanley Kubrick and based on a Stephen King novel.
The Shining.
The Shining with Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Scatman Crothers. I'd sell my soul for a drink. Family heads to an isolated hotel for the winter where a sinister presence influences the father into violence, while his psychic son sees horrific forebodings from both the past and the future. Now, it's a horror movie. It's got some violence in it. It's got a psychopathic character played by Jack Nicholson, which he was always really good at playing.
Here's Johnny.
But when you break it down, it is a ghost story, too. There are multiple spirits that appear throughout the film and creep you out, like the little girls.
The twins?
The twins, the little twin girls that are like really creepy. So yeah, that was mine, The Shining. So Kev, what is your last one?
Okay, my last one was
House.
House. This was done in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to tell you the director. That's going to give too much away right away. I'm going to start with the cast, which also may give things away too quickly. So let me see if I can be selective. I'll start with
who was the best boy.
All right, let's go with these three cast members: Marge Helgenberger, Keith David, and Brad Johnson.
Keith David is also from They Live and The Thing. This came out in 1989.
1989. I'll give you two more cast members.
All right.
Before I give you the big two. John Goodman and Holly Hunter. John Goodman and Holly Hunter. And the last two cast members, before I go into the director, Audrey Hepburn in her last role, and Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh, this is it's another one.
Do I get second stump? Do I get second stump?
No, it's another one where I can see the trailer in my head. Because I've talked about this before because I talked about Audrey Hepburn and how much I love Audrey Hepburn, and this was her final film.
Yes, it was. Directed by Steven Spielberg.
Wasn't it like? I want to say it's like Awakening or Away or
You got the right first letter.
it's something with the letter A in it.
Yes.
Um,
Doesn't count if you don't know the name.
is it like After something?
The basis of the movie is a spirit of a recently deceased expert pilot mentors a newer pilot while watching him fall in love with the girlfriend that he left behind.
Always.
Always, you got it. Oh man, I really was hoping I could get you something on that one.
No, it was here because like I could see Audrey Hepburn's face in the trailer. Still
She
looking
played Hap.
amazing at like 60-something years old. Yeah.
And I think this is a remake. I think this is a retelling. It's something that a guy named Joe or
that I don't know. I'm going to look it up and see, but that I'm not sure of.
Okay.
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss, Holly Hunter, John Goodman. Now Richard Dreyfuss is the character who passes, right?
Right. They are pilots, but they are firefighting pilots. They drop the chemical that helps with forest fires from their planes, and him and John Goodman are buddies. And Richard Dreyfuss goes for this one last run because he really wants to help the firefighters, and it doesn't turn out so well for him. He ends up dying, and then Audrey Hepburn, his spirit guide, kind of instructs him that he has, to be able to move on, he has to help someone else, help someone who's living. And he ends up getting partnered with this guy. And Richard Dreyfuss is kind of like, I'm not going to help this guy. This guy's a bozo, and he's horsing around too much. But the guy ends up falling in love with Richard Dreyfuss's girlfriend prior to his death, and it just kind of goes on from there.
It says it's based on a story called A Guy Named Joe. Which was the screenplay adaptation, but it doesn't say if that was a previous film or not. It looks like it might have been a screenplay that had been around and they just kind of adapted it and changed the name and all that. But I don't see it as like a previous movie or anything. But yeah, Guy Named Joe was the original story idea. I think
anyway, forgotten one from Spielberg.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe if you called it A Guy Named Joe, more people might have seen it because that's kind of an intriguing title. Like, okay, he's a guy named
More
Joe.
than always.
Yeah, always. Now, whenever I hear the word "always" now, I think of Snape. So, the tagline: "They couldn't hear him, they couldn't see him, but he was there when they needed him, even after he was gone."
That's confusing as fuck.
This is Audrey Hepburn's final film. She was 63 years old. Yeah, I don't see anything about a previous movie or story or anything.
No.
So it might have just been that adaptation that you're thinking of. But yeah, that's definitely a time to forgot kind of film. So that was our top 5 list of ghost films that we chose that we like. We did not have Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice, or Sixth Sense on our list because they are like the obvious ones. My list again was 13 Ghosts, The Fog, The Frighteners, The Conjuring, Field of Dreams, and because Field of Dreams was picked by Mike as well, I did a backup, which was The Shining. Mike, what were your 5 again?
Let's see. Poltergeist was one of them. I did the backup of Nightmare on Elm Street. I did Amityville Horror. I did A Christmas Carol. And my first one, what was my first one? Oh, Sleepy Hollow.
Yes. And Kev, yours were?
Mine were Ghost, High Spirits, The Others, The Lady in White, and Always.
None of us picked The Lady in Black starring Harry Potter.
I've never seen it.
I saw it. It was terrible.
Yeah, it's all right. So we have a little bit of time here tonight because this episode did not go as long as I thought it was going to go. We have a little bonus segment for tonight.
I have a quick question before the bonus segment. Since we're talking about ghosts, have you both of you watched the new Haunted Mansion?
No, I've not watched it yet.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
How come you didn't put the old Haunted Mansion on your list?
Because it sucked.
Here's how badly that movie sucked, Mike. Katie and I saw it in the theater. And I was like, this movie was not great. And then you and Adrian wanted to see it as well. So we saw it a second time in the theater because you guys wanted to go see it. So I saw the Haunted Mansion twice in the theater.
That sucked.
I was the one who made the money for that film.
Well, let's put it this way. This one doesn't suck.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I have to check it out.
I enjoyed it.
Kevin and I were talking during the little break about The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. I meant to tell you, Lee, that Mark Hamill's in it, and I haven't seen him act like in anything for a while. He is a remarkable, ruthless attorney in this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to check out as far as like this time of year creepy shit, that I want to check out. So for bonus segment, gentlemen, would you like to do the hypothetical question that we spoke about earlier, or the quirky game that I came up with?
The quirky game.
Game.
All right. So,
excuse me.
We'll save the hypothetical for next week, maybe. So for a little bonus segment tonight, I came up with a game here. I have 6 movie titles that have been translated into other languages. And often when a movie title gets translated into another language because of, how English idioms are kind of weird in other languages, they often get translated in comical ways. So what I have here are 6 films. I'm going to give you the language, the title in that language, the translated title, and then you try to guess the actual film. All right?
Okay.
We'll start off with an easy one. The first one is a French translation. The French title is Il n'y a pas de paix pour la vieillard, which translates into English as There is no country for old people.
No country for old men.
So that's an easy one. No Country for Old Men is the French title there. Let's go to something a little more difficult now. In Argentina, this title, which is Spanish, is Vaseline, which translates into English as Vaseline.
Grease.
Grease. Very good. Wow. That's a good one. You got that.
Well done.
Well done, sir. Speaking of ghost films, I love this. This is China. The Chinese title is Tashi Yizhe Uning, which translates to he's a ghost.
Sixth Sense?
It's the Sixth Sense. Their translation of the title basically gives away the film. Is it ghost? Here you go, Mike. Here's a German one for you.
Okay.
Zwei weiblich Männer und ein Heffenblondin, which translates as 2 feminine men and a hot blonde.
3 men and a baby?
This is a classic Billy Wilder film from the 1950s.
What?
Some like it hot?
Some like it hot. 2 feminine men and a hot blonde. Hey! I got 2 more for you. I have a Japanese one and another Chinese one. The Chinese ones are fucking amazing, man. I found like a list of like 40 of these. They're amazing. Let's go with the Japanese one first, though. This one is in Japanese. It is Watashi wa yuta iru soshita anata wa baishun pudisu, which translates as I'm drunk and you're a prostitute.
Leaving Las Vegas.
Very good. Starring Kevin's favorite actor, Nick Cage, and everybody's favorite actress, Elizabeth Shue. Leaving Las Vegas. I'm drunk and you're a prostitute. And then the last one is also a Chinese one. It is Liu Ji, Liu Zhu, which translates into English as 6 naked pigs. Six naked pigs. And I'm going to tell you this. A lot of the Chinese ones that I saw, pig is a very commonly used term in the titles. Here, I'll give you a hint. Ready?
Naked pigs.
I'll give you a hint. Looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Looking for some hot stuff, baby, tonight.
I know this.
How about you can leave your hat on?
It's Monty.
It's the full Monty. Six naked pigs. One of my other favorite ones that I saw, I don't remember what the language was. And we'll have to save this for like another episode one down the line, do like a bunch of like translated titles. But this one was Leon the Professional with Jean Reno and Natalie Portman and Gary Oldman. And I don't remember the language, but the translation was the hitman who turned out to be a pretty good guy. So that was just a little mini bonus game there for the end of the episode. I thought we'd have some fun with. We'll have to save that for a later episode, do some more of those or something. Mike, do you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening, sir?
Some beer history for you boys. In 1295 AD, King Wenceslas recognized the city of Pilsen in what is now the Czech Republic as the birthplace of Pilsner beer and granted brewers their exclusive rights to its production.
Pilsner. I don't mind a Pilsner beer every now and then.
Pilsner, Australian for beer.
Yeah, I thought that was Foster's.
Oh, that too.
Let's revisit our drinks then. Gentlemen, Mike, you went first earlier. How was your drink from Massachusetts, is it? Or is this
It was from Massachusetts, yes, Pittsfield, Massachusetts. The sincerest pumpkin and buttersquash beer. It's good. I like it.
Okay.
You guys can try it Saturday when I bring it over.
All right, cool. Kevin, how was your beer? I mean, I really can't wait to try the cannoli one, man. But
yes, I am going to have to see if I can find more. This was Total Wine and More, and I picked up a single, but I know that they had these in 4-pack, so I will grab some before Saturday. Can't go wrong with Pumpkin Imperial Pumpkin Ale.
Nope.
Always a favorite. Like I said, I want to try the caramel one. It's kind of tying, like, Whole Hog, the pumpkin ale that we had from Whole Hog was they're kind of neck and neck right now. Mm-hmm. So, but the cannoli one is really it's good. It's very sweet. We'll probably do shooters or tasters of it, but it's pretty good. Is Rubino's Italian Food Market a thing? Is that popular somewhere?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Maybe up in New York or something. You said maybe up in New York, right?
Yeah. Up in Brockport.
So I had a mixed drink tonight called the Drunken Ghost, which was vodka, Kahlua, and Irish cream out of my wife's Witch's Brew cauldron mug. It also was a little sweet because it did have 2 milky liqueurs mixed in there, but it was pretty good. And I'm slurring, so I don't know if it's the drink or something else, but So thank you for joining us tonight for episode 126. Tonight we were talking about our ghost movies, paranormal pictures. We hope you enjoyed listening to this podcast as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or go to linktree.com/filmsandfermentation. Find all of our social media and podcast links, including links to our new TikTok account. You can support us on Patreon or buy some merchandise at teespring.com. Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented for our next episode 127. And we're continuing our Halloween-themed episodes next week when we revisit the early 80s kind of film that time forgot, I would say. It's sort of like The Goonies meets Universal Monsters. It is the film The Monster Squad, the film that taught us that the Wolfman has
Wolfman
nards.
has nards?
Wolfman has nards.
I'm Leo.
Wolfman?
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.